Do-do. Do-do-do. So take my hand, disappear to another. Oh, is it recording? Oh, for fuck's sake. Don't know you and you don't know me. So take my hand, disappear to another sun. Too far from here, no I don't. Are we actually going to start now?
Yeah.
I'll turn this fella off. Father!
I have the whole studio in. That's incredible.
You have the pigeon in as well, but it looks like. Are we keeping the pigeon in the shot?
The pigeon? No.
Too far from here. No, I don't.
Wish I had more time to prepare for the last episode.
I feel like if you were prepared for it, it wouldn't be authentic us, would it really? No. I feel like our best work is unauthentic. Not unauthentic. It's fully authentic.
Luckily the brand's gone from this on.
What brand? I lost one of them a week into the job.
The camera feels very close actually.
It does, but you have the whole shot in, you said.
Yeah. Here we are.
So take my hand.
145 episodes, Adam.
Is that what it is? I thought someone earlier it was 152.
145.
Fuck.
And it's
Is that 145 altogether, or is this including specials?
It's including everything.
Fuck.
And it's 1,152 days.
Words of listens, like?
Since we started.
Holy shit, man. Hey, you told me you didn't prepare for this.
And I've just made that figure up.
Oh, that's really sad. I was like, that's quite...
No,
like,
the episodes is real. The 150.
Okay, so you lied to me. Okay.
Yeah.
This is why we're finishing up.
Our blatant non-professionalism.
Well, this is it as well. Kieran, how does it feel?
Bittersweet.
This is episode 145.
145,
okay.
yeah.
Good, nice number to end on, I suppose.
Bittersweet, I would say. I think it's been a long 4 years as in working on this podcast, putting in the graft, putting in the hours on the editing, everything. All the graft we put in. I feel like we've learned a lot, and I was listening back to our first ever episode of this, and I don't know, I just think we've gotten so much better.
Oh, big time.
We both agree on that.
Big time. I think as far as like even us two go as people, I think we're more confident. I think we're more, out there. We're more comfortable in what we're saying. I remember a lot. You said there. We've started. By the way, welcome to the final edition of Good Touch for a Big Man podcast. You probably would have heard our old theme tune to kick us off there. I hope you enjoyed. When we used to do this, we used to. Like, I remember we had an argument before because I remember coming up here with like 3 pages worth of notes, and you were working in remember you were working from home. What were you doing then?
I can't really say.
Yeah, but you were flat out working from home, and I think I was off work this day, and I came up here with like 3 pages of notes. You had a few notes, and we had an argument. It was like, why are we so scripted? Like, we haven't done any notes for this season
forever.
Practically, have we? In a long time we haven't. This episode's obviously going to focus around Champions League final last week. We have our team of the season for the Premier League and our awards and such. Apart from that, it's very much, as you see us. But it's funny, like, looking back on that first episode, I think I was sat in the same position. You were sat there. I'm trying to think. In the first episode, did we have this sounding up, or was that a few episodes later?
I don't think we didn't have anything. We just started on a blank canvas.
Do you remember we used to have the sounding? We bought a load of sound things.
That was a year or two later.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
We started on a blank canvas. Yeah.
I know, but I feel like we definitely got them at some point.
I think season 2.
Right, okay.
Maybe.
Because remember we put them up and they came down.
Well, I actually spent a lot of work painting this. Actually, now I think it was so much work has gone into this, so many hours, and I spent 2 or 3 days painting this room, and then obviously you spent a lot of time getting the decorations for the studio. I think a lot of the decorative work comes down to you, actually. To be fair, and it does look very well. To this day, I'm very proud of it.
I was looking at the pictures of us when we started till now, and it is complete kind of. Like, we actually have come quite far.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And a lot of growth. Like, I think, obviously, we would have liked a bit more interaction doing it and a bit more from it. But I think a lot of, like, growth as hosts of a podcast and just people in general, I think we've done in 4 years. And just the chemistry has gotten better and better.
What I like to think of, and I said this before, I don't know if the camera's rolling at this point, but do I say this? Fuck it. Me and Kieran have been friends for a number of years now, but like actual friends, I'd say it goes back to maybe December 2019, which would have been our first time having pints together. In Gravediggers, a Christmas tradition of yesteryear.
The great Tommy A.
Kieran was always, that was something we never even talked about this. Kieran was always to me Rory's brother, and I remember when him and Dave left, I remember having a chat with Rory, and Rory just goes, just keep an eye on him, will you? And we did in school, didn't we? Like we always said hello to each other. We always kind of looked after each other in that way. And I said to Kieran, and I'm gonna get a bit deeper. Sorry for the people listening, but one of the things about this podcast that I really love is it's essentially been a friendship blossoming. Like we've become really good friends, not because of this. We were friends before this, but I feel like as a result of this, like we've gone on, 3 or 4 holidays together. Like it's when you put it into that context,
we've worked together.
We've worked twice. I've got you 2 jobs. You're very welcome. Nepotism is alive and well, people. But yeah, it's the blossom of this, and look, in life in general, we have our highs, we have our lows, and a funny thing of like one of the lowest parts of my life was when, you know, I don't want to say it, but I was at a funeral of my dad, and those days are fucking mental. Just in general, that whole week is a blur. But one of the things I remember vividly is you big sap, coming up and giving me a hug, and I was like, Kieran, and I was smiling because I didn't expect to see you there. And you were like, oh, Anzi, as tears are coming out. I was like, don't fucking, what are you crying for? We had a hug, we had a chat, and then you and your man went off, and I think Rory came back for a few drinks after. And then go fast forward, was it 4 years later, and the highest point of my life up to this point would have been in Derry in November when Chelsea won the league, and the first text I got from anyone was from you. And I don't think I've ever told you that, but you've been there from the lowest part to the highest part of my life, and it's really sad that this is kind of coming to a crescendo, but it's not something we've taken lightly. Like we did it last year, didn't we, with the whole, oh, we're gone, and then that was kind of like throwing the reel out, wasn't it, to bait people in, see the people care, and to be fair, you did. There was never a point where you didn't care, but yeah, it is what it is, Kieran.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer as well, I don't have a great anecdote to tell like you just did there, so sorry everyone, I don't have a
think on your head and that spot has never been
no. But I echo what Adam said. You know, it's always been the case of we're there for each other, and I think that's part of why this has lasted 4 years. I mean, most podcasts don't last 10 episodes. I said that to him before, and we've lasted 145 on our own backs, no editors, just keeping going, trucking away, and it's finally caught up. It's just it is very strenuous when you're working full time now, like we are as well. We were in college when we started this.
College, and it would have been part-time work at the time, yeah.
So it's hard to keep up this graft, especially, well, the elephant in the room, to get paid for, you need to get paid for. It needs to be your full-time job to do this full-time.
And this is the thing, and like, I put on the post last night saying this be out by tomorrow afternoon. Might not be, and that's I'm saying this is probably going to go unedited as it is. It's very raw today, but it's never been an issue for us because we've always gone on, we've always adapted. But coming out of COVID, like this is look, I don't know if people know how this begun. I'll say it really quickly. It began because Chelsea won Champions League, and we were drunk, and we were just drunk. We're in the lads' house in Finglas watching Chelsea win, a very emotional moment. and for Kieran and Rory and Senan. And we were, up to that point, Kieran used to do YouTube, Let's Talk Football, was that what it was called?
Yeah, Real Talk.
Real Talk Football, sorry. And all the throwbacks, man. It's like watching The Undertaker against Shawn Michaels. Or David Priest, sorry, another throwback. And I had done a few bits with Kieran up to that point on the camera. And that would have been my first time ever in front of a camera. Really daunting. We wore suits and everything, didn't we, for the first one round?
Yeah.
And we were there and we were drunk and everything else outside the back garden, lying on a broken hammock. And we both went, fuck it, let's start a podcast. Because the chemistry was there. Obviously not to the point it is now. But coming in from that, I went into a master's in teaching. Didn't last long. And this kind of took over. Do you know, we had a lot more time to put into it. Kieran was still finishing college. And the big thing with this, right, and it's I don't want to say it's sad in a way, but this is me and Kieran. What you see on front of the camera, what you hear in your ears, if this camera wasn't on, we'd still be chatting the same shit we chat. Do you know what I mean? It's just very convenient that there's two mics in our hands and we're in front of a camera. It's not a problem with this, but it's not self-sufficient. We're not in a position to be like, you can kind of park this off or you can park work off and do this. If that was the case, I think we can safely say if we were getting paid full time to do this, 1, there'd be more content. 2, it'd probably be better content.
Yeah.
And 3, there'd be no issue in us continuing. And we have a very loyal support. Like, there's people who listen to this.
We actually do have like proper listeners.
Like, yeah, but there's people who listen to this. Like, someone at work came to me today and was like, what the fuck, why you in there? I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know you listened to it. Like, there's people who kind of come out of woodwork and stuff, and we're doing this for you. Can I say that? Would you agree?
Yeah, no, we are. Yeah, we're strictly doing it for the listeners, for the hardcore fan base that have stuck around for 4 years and listened to us and not got bored of what we're saying, not got bored of our little tips over certain footballers, sometimes irrelevant footballers. Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, we just name dropped Tammy Abraham there in a debate that happened
this was the thing,
6 years ago.
Do you know what I will say is 4 years of doing this, and it was only last week that one of us threw the race card at each other. I was like, do you not remember last week when I said I literally went, whoa, what the fuck, man?
Well, that was the end, wasn't it?
It was not. Well, this is it, yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's been a hell of a ride. And now our watch has ended, to quote a great TV series. Or once great.
What I'll say is, it's the end. This is not, we're not gonna like be like, hey,
yeah,
this is it. It's not the end of us. It's not the end of us creating content and stuff. But it's the end of what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think the 1 hour 30-minute episodes, the analysing. I was listening to an episode earlier. It was 2024's biggest talking points according to ChatGPT, and we were waffling about it for 8 or 9 minutes. I think those days are over. I think that there's I still think there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of, for content going forward. I think there's a lot of stuff we want to do with the away days that I think we've seen, a lot of potential in. And it is great content, I believe, and I think Adam believes it as well.
Yeah.
So I think that going forward is less time consuming, and it won't be as frequent, which will help us. But yeah, I think as far as a full time podcast, it's the days are gone. Those days are gone. Sad to say.
We crack on to the football career, and we'll talk more about the podcast in its tenure in due course.
Do you know what? I feel like some of those emotional stories, I feel like there's going to be a few criers on this week's episode.
Do you know what? I'm not looking forward to getting messages from people. I was getting messages from people who I didn't even know listened earlier.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm actually really, really sad about this. I was like, fucking hell, man. Talk about putting the pressure on me. Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm going through a breakup here. So take my hand.
Will we get back to being professional and chat about what happened on Saturday, Adam?
Yeah, fuck me, man. I'm going to say it now, obviously, Inter Milan 0, PSG 5. Anticlimactic.
I think the most unprecedented scoreline in the Champions League final ever. Or one of them. I can't believe that Inter Milan folded the way they did. It was as if, there wasn't even a game plan going into the PSG game. I mean, these managers, it's their job to study each other's philosophies and how they play football. And I think Inzaghi would have understood coming into it that Enrique's style of play, fast, frenetic, it's not Pep's tiki-taka. It is murder you going forward. Move the ball quickly, pass and move. I think Inzaghi would have understood that. That's why I can't really understand that Inter Milan performance. It wasn't good enough for me.
You watch some of these games, right? And they just seemed... they seemed petrified of what PSG were going forward. Which, I won't lie, I'm not saying they shouldn't be. PSG are very ample going forward. They've great options going forward. But Barcelona did as well. And in the previous round, they they got rid of all their inhibitions and they just went for it. So, I look at PSG are a different kettle of fish to Barcelona, but I just feel like they were devoid of any ideas from such early on. And they created little to no chances. PSG had all the ball. PSG had everything they wanted. PSG had, and I don't think it's surprising that it finishes 5-0, just given how the game flowed and how it went. But I'm really disappointed in Inter. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about their strengths over the last few years, and one of them was conceding one goal in the group stage. I think they'd be really, really disappointed to let 5 in the final. It's amateur hour, it really is. And I don't think you can be harsh enough on them. This was a performance that reeked Inter. It was a terrible, terrible performance.
When you compare it to the game against City, and City are potentially a better outfit than PSG are now, I would have said at that time, with the likes of Rodri, De Bruyne, Haaland firing. I can't, because I don't think, I'm not saying PSG aren't that good, I'm going to get a lot of backlash for that, aren't they? I don't think PSG are as good as a 5-0 scoreline suggests.
No.
And on the other side, I don't think Inter Milan are as bad as what a 5-0 scoreline suggests.
Well, I was getting it in the ear on Saturday. So I was watching with my brother and my dad, and they were all saying how terrific PSG were. And I was leaning on how bad are Inter. Like, how much space were they given to PSG? I think that Kvaratskhelia goal was the fourth goal. I could not believe there was one man back for Inter Milan. I'd never seen such bad defending in the Champions League final in my life.
And it was 2 or 3 passes and they were in. It's not like they had to do a whole lot to get in.
Yeah, even the first goal, one pass split them open. And I understand pass and move. That's it. I think PSG had the sharpest pass in the whole competition. They didn't really miss a pass.
Midfield is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ruiz.
Vitinha is excellent. Due just lit up the final.
Neves as well.
Big game players. That's the sign of a big game player. And I just couldn't believe I pushed hard on Saturday. I was like, I was leaning towards the conspiracy. The Al Hilal talks with Inzaghi affected the performance, and I think.
You think it did?
I mean, we might as well end on the conspiracy because this is what we were known for, So, listen, I think it did end. I think it ended 5-0 because those rumours came out.
I thought you were just going to say, I think it ended 5-0. I was like, no, it fucking did end 5-0.
No, I think it ended 5-0 because those rumours came out before the game. Would it have ended 1 or 2-0 if they didn't come out? Probably.
Can I just ask, what gives you that impression?
I just think for a team to play that badly in the final, something has to be going on behind the scenes.
But that's one person, it's not the whole fucking team.
But it had to, we've seen it so many times, managers in various sports announcing they're leaving before. Look what happened with Klopp.
I fucking knew you were going to say Klopp, yeah.
Look what happened with Klopp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look what happened.
4 years.
Here, I'll name another.
4 years, 145 episodes. How many times has Kieran mentioned the club? I'd love to know that.
145 times. But he announced he was leaving. The Liverpool team was flying, and then he announced he was leaving down tills. Look,
Do you think that was the case with that though? Because right, go on, just finish what I said. Go on.
Joe Schmidt, Ireland coach, rugby. That's another A1 example. He announces he's leaving before the World Cup. The Ireland team's flying. I think they won the Six Nations. They won the Grand Slam. They won the rest. They're number one in the world. They get knocked out in the quarter final of the World Cup. I genuinely think that there is something behind the Inzaghi Al Hilal. If that didn't come out, I think Inter win this final. They at least compete. They at least bring it to extra time. They're a much better team than they played on Saturday.
Did we even predict this game last week? I don't feel like we did. I think we might predicted a team to win. We didn't predict the scoreline.
We were going through bloody everything, the Trent drama and all that. But honestly, Adam, this was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
This team got to a final. They didn't get it by chance. They beat a great Barcelona team.
They got there in merit, yeah.
They beat City in the group stage. I think quite well. They beat Arsenal in the group stage. In the quarterfinals, who did they play in the quarterfinals? It was a Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah. No, it was Barcelona.
No, the semi-final, was it?
No, Barcelona played Dortmund in the quarterfinals. What I'm saying.
I think Inter played another great team in the quarterfinals.
Oh, I'll find it for you now. Go on.
But
going with your point.
it's no coincidence that they got to the final. They beat
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich, yeah. Classy outfit. I'm not saying they're in any great shapes under Vince and company, but I think it's a great historical team they beat. You know, for me, they were the team that merited the final more than PSG.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd say that. And to put in such a shambolic performance is an absolute embarrassment to the football club, and the fans should be ashamed. And, well, the fans shouldn't be ashamed. The team and the players and the management should be ashamed.
I think they got a lot of backlash just from what I've seen on Twitter and the like. I do think I think if Inzaghi's not going to Al Hilal, I think he might be fucking shipped off out.
But he goes to Al Hilal within a week of losing that final, Adam.
Is he gone or no?
He's gone now.
Right, yeah.
He's gone now and all.
Fucking hell.
So you can say it isn't to do with that, but
I personally don't believe it is.
Okay.
I think the signs were there from Inter in the previous 2 rounds. To be fair, like we're talking about them beating Bayern and Barca, they conceded 3 over 2 legs to Bayern. They conceded 5 or 6 against Barca. Like the signs have been there. I think they just, to be honest with you, I think they just reached the point of no return. I think they could have played Liverpool in that final. They could have played Arsenal in that final. I think they were losing that final regardless of who they were playing. I think they came up against a better side. PSG with the quality of Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Desiree Doué, they just had too much for them, and they just couldn't compete. I do think a shameful performance though. Fuck me, man. You get to a final and you at least expect to compete. You know, I remember a couple of years ago with Shells getting to the FAI Cup final, and there he spanked us 4-0, and it gets to a point in the game where when it's 2-0, you're still in it. There's still a bit of a dogfight. When that third goes in, it's game over. Unless you're like a Liverpool of 05 and you can bring it back. Generally speaking, it's game over. And I think when it got to 3-0, it was a Doué got the third, and it's a lovely finish with his right foot as well, isn't it? It's game over. They were never getting back into it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And PSG's first title or first Champions League, they finally crossed that threshold. And with superstars of the past, you know, Messi, Neymar.
Another win for sports washing. And for what it's worth, I'm reasonably happy that PSG won. Particularly for Enrique, the tifo after the game and stuff. Very, and this is the beautiful thing about football in general. And this is why it brings people together. Is kind of emotive things like that, and you know, really good achievement for him. No issue with it at all. But it's a win for sports watching, because there would have been once upon a time no one would have wanted PSG to win just based off their owners, and same with City a few years ago, and now Inter, unfortunately, are the losers in this battle against sports washing twice.
Yeah, and you know what, I would agree with you ordinarily, but I believe this PSG team to be an incredibly likable team to watch. And I think it's the first ever time that you watch PSG and you say, wow, they play some incredible football. You know, just take all the politics aside. Like
It's hard though, Kieran. It is hard.
I know it's hard, but when you're watching the football objectively, they play the beautiful game. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful game.
One of our awards later on is best game of the season. PSG are in my best game of the season against Liverpool, so I have no issue. I have no issue with them in terms of football inside.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like, well, this is.
Did you send me the awards before the episode?
I didn't. I don't think.
I'm gonna have to free ball them.
Well, when this camera goes, we'll sit down for a minute. Yeah. Biggest takeaway, I suppose, Carol, from the Champions League this season. Are you happy with the new format?
I haven't. I mean, we're not going to talk about this next season, so I might as well just get my thoughts out. I think it's terrible. I think it's ruined the competition actually.
How?
Well,
PSG finished 15th, man.
I'll put it to you this way,
and they won it.
I'll put it this way. I think they finished 24th as well.
No, I think they finished 15th, doesn't it?
Really? I think they played City in a playoff.
I think it was 15th.
All I can say is, right, more games. I think it's ruined by the fact that a team can lose 6 games, win 2 and still get in. It just takes the merit out.
Do you think that adds to the excitement of it, though? No?
It takes the merit out of the competition. I mean, City were brutal for 5 of the 8 games and still got through. You know what I mean? They were brutal, and they just had to win 2 games at home and get through. I think that's it's a bad indictment on football. It's a terrible curse and poison on the game that this
15th was where PSG finished. Beat Brest. They didn't get enough claim in this podcast. Why the fuck, man? 10-0 over 2 legs. So, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a terrible poison on the game, the new format, and I really hope the group stage come back, but football's ruined currently.
I like it. For what it's worth, I like it. I think it's
the competition from the last 16 onwards was great.
I think in terms of the Super League, which is what we nearly got, I think this is a very good alternative. You know?
Yeah, replace the Super League with a Super League.
Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think when it's done in a reasonable way, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, when teams are included.
Well, if you were to really take it into proper, if you were to make it genuinely the Champions League, then the likes of fucking Celtic, Shells, I don't know, Linfield, whoever the fuck won the league in Wales, are in it.
Yeah.
But that's never going to happen. They don't bring away for enough revenue. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe Celtic do. That's probably harsh on them. But point being is, it is what it is, and I think it's the best of a bad decision. Because we could have gotten a Super League, and that would have fucked us right off. This is the Super League. It's a modern Super League.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it, to be fair.
We'll park that there, but
we're going to give out our, I suppose, Premier League awards, or just football in general, because
it's football.
not all of my shit is to do with the Premier League. Well, do you know what? Will we start with our teams, Kieran, maybe?
Yeah, we'll do the team first, and then move on to the awards. Yeah, there's a lot of awards this year. I got the list earlier on from Adam, and
no, you didn't, man. We literally talked about how you didn't have it. I think a lot of ours are, just judging by the quick glance I've had there, are quite similar. A few differences, but we'll get on to it. Anyways, how have you managed to get 3 Chelsea players?
I just thought if it's the last one, we might as well go out with a bang now. In goal, I've gone for Matt Sells. I think he's been the most consistent goalie of the season. I think he's made the most difference to Forest as well. In that position. Sorry.
I think it was between him and David Raya for me. I think Raya finished the season with the most clean sheets. But yeah, it was himself or Raya. I don't think it's a much of muchness really. I think he gets in just because I feel like Forest have massively overachieved this year. And I think he's part of it. And he's one of those keepers in the games I've watched Forest in. He makes like one world-class save a game. Like, it's unbelievable. And I know Roy Keane, it's his job. Piss off. He's a really good goalkeeper. Right back here on, I've gone for Munoz of Crystal Palace. You've gone for... Why?
Trent, I thought, listen, it was...
This is a gaslighting technique, isn't it?
No, it's not a gaslighting technique. I think if he didn't move to Real Madrid, you'd have him in for what it's worth. But do you know what? He's had a fabulous season with Liverpool. I think if you take all the... Oh,
sorry.
What happened there?
I kicked the camera by mistake.
I think we're okay. I'll just move it back over a little bit. Yeah. Okay, we're okay again.
Sorry, Trent, get back onto him.
I think for what it's worth, if you take all the blind bias away from out of the equation, I think he's had a fabulous season for Liverpool, and they have the best defensive record in the league. I think the way he sprayed long balls this year was fantastic to Salah, and it provided a lot of his goals, to be honest.
It's taken Trent to leave for you to appreciate him.
I just think he's been extra special this year. I think he's brushed up on his defending. Liverpool were excellent this season. I think you have to give him his flowers, and it's got him a move away to Real Madrid. His dream destination. So I think you can only put him in the team this season.
I've gone for Munoz because I think he's, for what it's worth, for those fan tracks nerds, I think he has the most points in fan tracks this year.
Wow, that's a really sad reason.
I know.
Yeah.
FA Cup winner, I think, is another reason. I think he's been one of Palace's best players. I think Palace have had a really good season with Glasner as coach, and I think he's I think he's a top player, to be honest. I think if he stays with Palace, obviously they're playing European football next year. It'll be interesting to see if he stays. But he would fit into a lot of top teams now. Yeah, he's better than like Pedro Porro, for example.
Yeah,
and
he's had a rough start at Palace as well.
Yeah.
I remember them having a rough start to the season. They recovered well.
2 centre halves, Kieran. I've gone for Milenkovic and Virgil van Dijk.
I've gone for Van Dijk and Saliba. I think Saliba, they're rocking the Arsenal midfield, defence. And
he said that so confidently as well. Funny.
I think Gabriel got injured this season. I think Saliba kind of held firm in that Arsenal defence, so you have to kind of put him in. They've had the second best defensive record in the league, so I think you have to give Saliba his flowers. I think he might be off to Real Madrid soon.
Really? Yeah, is that rumoured?
It's just been a rumour flying around for ages, and I would think they'll put a bid in for him soon, if my sources are correct. So
which are?
It's the last episode.
Fuck off, anyone. Left back, Kieran.
Left back. Do you want to talk about Van Dijk or Milenkovic?
We've said it all about Virgil. I think he's honestly. I don't think there's been a better Premier League centre half. I think this season. I think it's always thrown around of he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. That's his second Premier League title. He's a Champions League winner already. He's won multiple cups. He's a proper leader, and I think since Henderson left, I think the last 2 seasons, funny enough, we've actually seen the best of Van Dijk since he's taken the armband. I think he's a proper pro, and again, just colossal this year. And I don't think there's a lot more to say. I don't think we've seen a better centre half play Premier League football. I think that's probably the biggest compliment he can.
And Milenkovic,
a bit like Sells. I think he's excelled in this season for Forest. I think he's a big reason why they're going to be playing Champions League football next season. I do stylistically prefer Murillo, just for what it's worth. I think he's easier on the eye. I think he's a bit more technical ability about him. But Milenkovic, as far as defender goes, bosh, not a bother to him. He's a really good defender. Do
you think they're helped by this style of play and they kind of sit 10 men behind the ball throughout the games? The Forest defenders, I always think they're kind of assisted in that way.
Like Milenkovic is like 6'5", man. Of course he's gonna to be sat back, not having to run in behind. Yeah. The way Forrest set out, generally speaking, whenever that happens, it's usually Murillo on the cover and Milenkovic kind of holds the position. So he's just been class. Like Forrest are playing European football next year, and he's big part of the reason.
They were very close as well. They got to the last day.
Very close. And I'm kind of upset they didn't. to be fair, but for you, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Left back Kieran, I've gone Milos Kerkez.
I've gone Kukurea. I think. Listen, I don't think there's been a left back better than this season.
But there has. I just mentioned it.
Well, they'd finished 11th, Adam. You know what I mean? I think Cucurella pitched in with a lot of important.
Where did
goals.
Chelsea finish?
Fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah.
Chelsea were in the title race at one point in the season.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
No, they
Yes,
weren't.
they were. Yes, they were.
I'm not being gaslighted in this, right?
Yes, they were.
Cucurella, one of the best left backs this year, if not the best.
Disagree.
He's pitched in with a lot of important goals. You know,
In the Conference League.
backs against the wall against United, that need a goal to win the game. He comes in, clutch, no striker in the box, boom, goal. West Ham need a goal. They're sitting back against low block, Graham Potter ball, sitting back. Cucurella pops up with a goal.
Why
I think
why didn't Chelsea sustain their title challenge?
I don't think they're ever in a title race, but listen, I think he's been excellent defensively. Chelsea have the third best defensive record in the league, and yeah, there's nothing more you can say really. I mean, I think giving it to Kirkes, who completely fell off in the second part of the season.
That's you see, you
crazy,
use
crazy.
these terms like millennial terms that mean nothing.
What do you mean?
Oh, his Kirkes' fall off.
He fell off a cliff.
He didn't fall off a cliff.
He did.
didn't.
What did he do in the second part of the season?
He's being bought by the champions, girl. He's being bought by the champions.
That's why he's in this team and Trent isn't. It's all to do with Liverpool.
Give it a rest,
It
man.
is.
Your midfield three, Kieran. I actually don't believe what I'm saying here.
I've gone from
I'm sorry, this is fucking crazy, man. This is crazy. What you were about to go on, say what you're going to say.
I mean, you've put two Liverpool players in. I don't see why it's crazy.
Well, because one of them, we've agreed on two, right? We both have Gravenberch and Caicedo. Right? I put Caicedo in that purely for you because I knew you'd give out if I didn't. I actually can't believe this. I actually can't believe
Why can't you believe that?
Because I think it's bullshit.
He is the best midfielder in the league, or one of them.
Give it a fucking rest, man.
I'd say behind Caicedo is the best
Behind
in the league.
the player I have, he is. Who have you gone for?
I've gone for Enzo. Moneybags Enzo. Cost so much money and he was excellent this season.
Why didn't he sustain a title challenge for Chelsea?
It's not all down to him though, is it?
But you're just saying he's best midfielder in the league.
He is the best midfielder in the
Best midfielder in the league sustained the title challenge for Liverpool. Alexis McAllister.
league. How many goals does he have?
How many goals does Enzo have?
8 goals. In the
Do
league.
you know that off the top of
5
your head?
assists, yeah.
How many league winners medals
And
has
important
Enzo got?
goals as well.
How many league winners medals has Enzo got?
Scored a goal in the European final.
How many league winners medals has Enzo got?
How many World Cup medals does Enzo have?
One, the same as McAllister.
Yeah.
McAllister for me has been we're going to be giving out a Player of the Year award. We both agreed to not pick Salah because it's boring. It's like there's been enough said about.
I think it's
Salah.
boring putting McAllister in for what it's worth.
McAllister's the best midfielder in the league.
Well, Adam,
I'm sorry. One of the famous debates we've had on this is if Alexis McAllister is world class.
Enzo is better than him.
He isn't his whole better than him.
Yeah, he
It's
is.
just not true. He's not.
Well, you might as well end the podcast right and disagree on this.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining. No, it's bullshit, man. It's bullshit.
Enzo,
McAllister's a better player than Enzo Fernandez.
how many World Cup goals does McAllister have?
I'd say the same amount as Enzo Fernandez.
No.
How many?
Enzo has more.
Enzo's 2 probably.
He had more in that winning campaign.
So McAllister came in after they lost to Saudi Arabia and turned it around for him. Was widely lauded as. Wait, hold on. When I brought up the World Cup 2 years ago after Liverpool signed him, we were like, "Oh, that's a useless metric to use." McAllister is skibbity riz. Like, what are you on about?
Well, what are you on
What
about?
are you on about?
You just said skibbity
Shut
riz
up,
in
man.
a sense.
You're so bad.
I think a lot of people would agree with me, by the way.
I think you're delusional.
I think you're delusional.
Of course you do. The forward line, Kieran. We have two of the same.
Yeah, Salah, Isak, and Buemo. I mean, I think this team would win a title for what it's worth.
It's a bit hard to prove, isn't it?
I know, but like Matt Sells, Trent.
You don't
Van
think
Dijk,
Wyman would?
Ziba. I think there's a few weak links in there. McAllister, Kirkes, Rodgers, right? Milinkovic. You know,
I went for Morgan Rogers on the left hand side of this side. Salah and Isak. You're going to talk about Isak later on. I suppose Salah broken all the records that could be broken. Player of the Year again. another kind of goal scoring campaign that's kind of you class is unheard of. It's the norm for Mo Salah.
President.
Rodgers, for me, I think his ceiling's so high.
But like, why wouldn't you put Palmer in instead of him? He more
Why don't
goals.
you
than
have Palmer
assists.
in?
I don't have Palmer in because I think he kind of had a bad few games, run of games there. But I'd say Rodgers wasn't that consistent.
No, I think he's consistently Villa's best performer. I think he. I was gonna pick him or Morgan Gibbs White. I couldn't pick Mbuemo because Mbuemo plays off the right. And yeah, I just think Rodgers is. What's he got? He has 10 goals, 10 assists, 8 goals in Premier League this season. He was a big character for them in Europe. Morgan Rodgers has had a really good season. And if you were to put a gun to my head and ask me for a player for Liverpool to sign in the window, I'd go for Rodgers. So I'm a big fan, big fan of him, I have to say.
How much would you pay for Rodgers?
In today's market, you're probably talking, 60 million, 70 million?
And you'd like Liverpool to pay?
I mean, if the money was there to spend, yeah, well, I don't see why not. They're spending 130 on Verts, which is the rumour going around, isn't it? So
yeah, ruin the league. Nice.
Like Chelsea. But why'd you go for Mbuemo?
In Mbuemo, I think I have him in another award later, but I think he's filled the boots of Ivan Toney since he left. I think he's provided a lot of valuable goals for Brentford this season.
Him and Vissa, yeah.
Yeah, and Vissa would be another good shout to put in this team, and Isak as well. I think Isak has been absolutely terrific for Newcastle. I mean,
do you think he stays there?
I think it'll be hard for him to keep hold of him. Yeah. But he has Champions League. That's the beauty of it all.
This is it. But if Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal go in from, surely he goes to them, you know.
I think maybe you'll take Real Madrid to go in from, as long as Newcastle get Champions League.
Who's he going to play in their front line?
He'd definitely do a better job than Mbappe.
Right. We get on to the other awards, Kieran. Player of the year.
Player of the year, I've given to Isak.
Right. Big fan.
On the basis of what I said. Listen, he's the best striker in the league for me. I don't think Haaland compares to him in the general play. And that's a bold statement, but I think I'd take Isak over Haaland. I think he's just more agile and better on the ball. And he pitches in with a lot of goals. As good a finisher, I would say. So I love Isak. I think he's player of the year for me.
Yeah, I've gone for Alexis McAllister for the one reason of Salah is the player of the year. We both know this, but I think McAllister is. When he came to Liverpool, I think 35 million from Brighton, a bit of a steal. I think if you could give Brighton another 100 million, you probably would. I think he encapsulates everything about the modern midfielder going forward defensively. His miles he runs, like he's a proper midfielder, and for me he's the best one in the league. I don't think there's probably not too many better than him in the world at the minute. Big fan of Alexis McAllister, I have to say. So that's why I've gone for him. The young player of the year, Cron, who have you gone for?
Caicedo.
23 years of age.
Yeah.
23 years of age.
Is that young? I mean, I'd regard myself as young. I'm 24, Adam.
You're not a Premier League footballer, Cron.
Well, I'm old then.
I think you are. In that sense, I think you are.
Thanks, Adam.
I've gone for Morgan Rodgers. You're going to slag me because I've gone for him, but he's, for me...
What age is he?
21. I actually don't know. I think he's 22. He's not older than Caicedo.
Imagine he was. He's 22.
Yeah, so I was right. Caicedo's 23.
Caicedo's only 23. How's that? That's not that old.
That's younger than fucking...
Yeah, he's 1 year older.
Younger than...
He's actually only 8 months older.
Sign of the year, Cron.
Sign of the year, I've gone for... I can't pronounce the name. Huijsen.
Yeah, we both the same.
Yeah.
Got to move to Real as well. So I know Bournemouth probably had a bit of a stinker end to the season. Well, you would say that. But he was part of the goal for them, anyways, wasn't he?
You're chatting about Chelsea bottling the title. Bournemouth absolutely bottled European football. They were in the race and then they just fell off.
Bournemouth bottling European football is not non-equivalent to Chelsea bottling the title race. I'm sorry.
Why is it?
It's completely different. No, you're talking about completely different metrics here. Like
Why?
Chelsea were in and around the title race for a long time.
And Bournemouth were
Bournemouth weren't. Not as long as what Chelsea were.
in the European.
Man, the teams who finished ahead of Bournemouth are evidently better. You could make a case for Chelsea being better than Man City and Arsenal.
So they're not better than Liverpool, though.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
God, no.
They're
No,
only
no, no.
4 points off Arsenal.
In fact, Liverpool did Chelsea a favour by rolling over.
They're
So
only
you're
4
very
points off Arsenal in the end.
Best newcomer, Kieran?
Best newcomer is Patrick Kluivert for me. I know he's
Patrick Kluivert. Do you not mean Justin Kluivert?
Oh God.
I wouldn't mind, man. When you were doing this, you said Patrick Kluivert about fucking 6 times, and I just went, yeah.
Yeah, you were stitching me up, right?
I actually didn't even mean it. I didn't even mean it. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, that's very funny. You've gone for Justin, anyways.
Yeah, I was going to put him most improved, but I actually think Brian and Bramo is falls under that category.
Yeah, I got these from Sky Sports.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know. I don't think there's a lot different between newcomer, improved, etc. I've gone Gravenberch for most improved for what it's worth.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I think he's had a season like he's been compared to Vieira this season. So there's not much more you can do than that, is there? Best coach, girl.
Who's your most or best newcomer?
Oh, Miles Lewis Skelly. Do you not like him?
I think he comes across as arrogant to me.
I don't think there's a lot to like about Arsenal, but
Yeah.
I like him.
He encapsulates Arsenal. But what I was going to say, Luis Enrique is my best coach. I thought you were going to pull something out there.
Yeah, sooner.
Oh.
Oh, what a... Whoa!
Best coach, Luis Enrique.
Whoa!
We're allowed to break the boundaries of Premier League, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Luis Enrique, he won the quadruple in France. What more is there to say?
I think Champions League's a big one for him as well, wasn't it? I think he... For PSG, like, that's the one they've always wanted for a long, long time, so... yeah, there's not much you can say. I went for Slot because when he came to Liverpool, there was a lot of haters, yourself included,
How was I here?
who said he wouldn't do anything, and he just
Did I say that?
went and won the league at a canter, so
I don't think I said that.
that's why I went Darnley Slot. Biggest overachievers, Kieran, I went for Forest.
I've gone for Tottenham.
Okay, explain.
They won a trophy.
And that's it, that's enough.
It's not in their DNA.
We didn't slag United enough last week for losing that, by the way.
My biggest underachievers are United.
My biggest underachievers are Arsenal. I think another season where they finished second. It's simply not good enough, I don't think, from an Arsenal point of view. I think they're cowards. I really do.
Do you think they I'm looking at their transfer window in the last few days. There's so much movement going on. I don't know if you're keeping track of it all.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on in these 10 days just before the Club World Cup. And there's loads of transfers, loads of coaches moving around. I've seen Fabregas linked with Inter. And I've seen
Crazy.
what was it? Arsenal were in for Sesko. And I
think that's happening as well.
But it was there for a few minutes and it's gone quiet again. And I just feel every single transfer window, and we're used to this now at Arsenal, it's just, it goes quiet in the transfer window. And they don't sign enough players to get over the line. That's the way
I think Sesko would be a game changer for Arsenal if they were to get him.
I don't rate him.
I don't know why they haven't gone for someone like even Ivan Toney, man, when he was leaving.
Yeah.
Such an open
perfect.
goal.
Yeah.
Such an open goal. I think it says everything about Arteta, to be honest.
All they needed was a poacher. to bang them in.
Favourite game, Kieran?
I'm losing my favourite game. I've gone for Inter versus PSG first leg, Adam. I think this is one of the best.
Talking about Inter Barcelona.
There you go, another blunder. Inter versus Barcelona first leg. It was one of the best games I watched quality-wise.
At the fake Camp Nou, that one.
Yeah. The overhead kick from Dumfries.
Yeah.
I think Yamal's goal was in that one as well. That's actually my goal of the year as well. So, yeah, that's my game of the season. I've
gone for Liverpool PSG. You could pick either one. I was away for the leg at Anfield, and obviously it finished on penalties and stuff. I think those two games, and like the Barcelona PSG or Inter game, in terms of quality, goals, etc., just as good. The Liverpool PSG game, in terms of drama, intensity, I don't think there's been a game like that in years.
I think
they were so tight, man.
Yeah, all games involving PSG were very very good this year. You know, even the Arsenal ones. Some of the best games you'll ever watch. Just technically, they're just great to watch. PSG. But
my goal of the season, and it's a nice way to end our awards before we get on to get it out, is Kerr McInroy against Pats. 2-1 win.
Is that the one bottom corner? Was it the right footed?
Yeah, on the left footed.
Left footed, yeah.
A season so far hasn't been, I don't want to say bad, like good for Shells, not as good as last year, naturally enough. But that goal, man, the lift off for that goal, because we were going through a tough period. Had one of the lads I work with, Jose, with me at the game. And he's a Madrid fan, so obviously completely different football than League of Ireland. But when that goal went in, man, it was as good as winning the league in Derry. Well, in that moment, it felt like we'd take off from there. We haven't since, to be honest. But like the Bowls fans have been lucky this year with the amount of last minute winners. There's nothing better in football than a last minute winner, and that one was really sweet. Cheer up, Steve and Kenny. Oh, what can it mean? Some great chants after the game as well. So really, encapsulated the whole thing.
That one was a chance.
I'm not going to sing the rest of it, but there's a lot. But there are awards, Kieran. I suppose we move on to our final ever Get It Out.
I can't believe it. Like it's hard. It's not something.
So take my hand, disappear to another. We have another one, but it's not Get It Out. But it's about memories and stuff. So we're going to Get It Out. Starting off with Gary, he says, "Where do we go from here?" I think this was in conjunction to Bruno leaving, but I don't think he's left yet, has he?
I don't know if Gary's talking about the podcast or Bruno.
No, he's talking about Bruno, because this was before Bruno re-signed. Okay. He has left a few emotional messages, don't worry. Kilo says, bread in or out of a chicken fillet roll. You see, I know people take the dough out to get more in it, like lettuce and stuff. But I like the bread and chicken roll.
I mean, I've never really seen. Do people do that?
Oh yeah, that's a thing. I'm being serious. That's a thing.
But the whole point of having a roll is to have a bit of bread with it. You know?
Bit of soakage. Yeah. Gary says Vitinha for Ballon d'Or. I would say no.
Who wins it?
See, the bias in me is going to say Salah, but I would like to think someone like Kvaratskhelia won the Serie A.
Salah probably deserves to win one. I would. I hate
such a contrary dog, man.
Even Trent, Trent's done a lot for Liverpool.
Shut the fuck up, man. Ian says, anyone left out of the Ireland squad who should be in it? Good question.
I like John Joe Patrick Flynn. I'm glad he's included. Bit of height in the midfield.
I would say, fuck me, man. Who should be in it that's not in it? Evan Caffrey for Shelbourne. There you go. Ian says, does Cran believe that world events like COVID are man-made to control the masses? Very good, man. Very good stuff. Kieran, take it away.
I'm not too sure on this one, Ian, to be honest. I mean, they could be man-made. It also might not be. I mean, we don't actually know the facts for certain. But if I was to bet like all my poker chips on one side, I would say it's man-made.
So you do think it's man-made? Yeah. Fucking hell, man. Senan says Gary Vav versus Ian in a scrap. Who you putting money on? Gary.
Yeah, I think actually, I actually think Gary batters Ian. It's not even close.
Senan says, how much dedicated RAM should I allocate to a Minecraft server? Man, get your life together, will you? Fucking hell. Yeah.
That's where we're going at it.
But to play Minecraft,
yeah.
RAM, me bollocks.
That's what we're spending our free time on Mondays and Tuesdays now.
Senan says, go to coffee order. When is Cran's coffee review back? Collab with different gravy. So many questions there.
Yeah.
Go to coffee order. If I'm in somewhere bougie, it's always a coconut flat white for me.
I can't speak. You can't go wrong with a flat white, in my opinion.
Ian says, put together best midfield three in the world right now. I'd go Vitinha, Pedri and Rodri. Oh, good question. Well, right now, it's a bit hard for Rodri to be in that considering he's been fucking injured, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would go... I know what you were going to say. I can see it lining up. I would probably go Vitinha, Pedri. I'd go Vitinha, Pedri and McAllister.
I'm going to go Caicedo, Enzo and Lavia when he's fit.
Fuck right off, man. I knew you were going to say that. Senan says, Hazard or Salah debate, who is better? Do you want to do this or no?
Fuck it, let's do it. Go on.
Man, it's Salah.
But we might as well stay all night.
Not for the first time on the podcast. We are going to debate Eden Hazard and Mohamed Salah. For the last time, thankfully. I'm just going to start by saying I'm not entertaining this for too long, but Salah's better.
But
Salah's better.
You have to have an opening statement there.
I think he's done more he's done more this season than Eden Hazard has done his whole career. There you go.
What?
I think just this season individually, goals, assists, the awards he's won, the Premier League he's won.
Has he ever dribbled through a whole defence?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, you're gonna say when, but he has done it. He's just an overall better player. I think he's better touch. He's quicker. He's stronger.
How does he have
his longevity is better? Like he's the age Hazard is now, and Hazard was playing against #United. Like
But Hazard's peak was a lot higher.
Was it though?
Yeah.
What did Hazard win in his peak?
2 Premier Leagues.
So Salah's done that.
Yeah, but Salah has also played for Liverpool a lot longer than Hazard played for
Has
Chelsea.
Hazard ever won Champions League with Chelsea?
Ever won the Champions League? He wasn't really in it with Chelsea. They had a few off seasons,
Right.
and they were in transition.
Was Hazard with Chelsea when Leicester won the league?
Hazard was. He actually won Leicester the league. He scored the goal.
He won Leicester league. That's very much a Chelsea's fan view of that. Right.
He scored the goal. He
you
scored some beautiful goals as well, Adam. I've never seen Salah score a beautiful goal like Hazard.
Salah scored. Do you remember Salah's goal against Chelsea from like 40 yards out to the right hand side?
Yeah, but a beautiful goal, an elegant goal.
That's not elegant.
No, not really.
I could show you Salah's goal against Red Bull Salzburg a couple of years ago, where he gets it in at a very tight angle. Wow. Would that tickle your fancy?
I don't think so, because he's playing Red Bull Salzburg. Like I've never seen
in the Champions
Salah
League.
dribble through Chelsea's whole defence and score, whereas Hazard did it multiple times against Liverpool.
Multiple times. He did it once against Alberto Moreno.
No, he did it against your whole spine.
It's not true.
It is true. He's a terrific player, terrific talent.
So why did Hazard never reach the heights that Salah has for Liverpool? Why was he knocking about with #United and YouTube All Stars
Maybe he was
at the same age Salah is now?
Maybe he was just more relaxed about the whole thing. Salah's kind of driven.
What's that even mean?
He's a bit more
How does that make him a better player?
trying to succeed, whereas Hazard was like, I'm going to play the beautiful game and I'm just going to do my best here. And his best maybe wasn't good enough. He may need to try a bit harder.
What about how many knockout goals has Hazard got in Champions League?
He wasn't in the Champions League, as I said.
There you go.
Yeah. Not all down to him.
Yeah, well, I think it's more down than you think.
Would Salah have won a Premier League title without Van Dijk, Henderson,
That's kind of irrelevant.
Alisson?
It's kind of irrelevant. You think Hazard is single-handedly responsible for Chelsea's Premier League win season? No,
2 seasons.
Disagree. Was this not when John Terry and Ramirez and that were knocking about? Gary Cahill, David Luiz.
They were at the end of their spell.
Baloney.
Baloney. Why
Call
is it
bullshit,
baloney?
man. You're putting that down as if Chelsea had a bad team. They didn't have a bad team.
We did have a bad team.
Did not have a bad team.
Zappa Costa was playing right back.
Good manager. And over the time, he would have been a decent player. I'm pretty sure Zappa Costa just won the European title as well recently, did he not? Europa League or something? No, not Spurs. I feel like Zappa Costa's won something. He's not as bad a player as you're making him out to be, is the point I'm making.
Marcus Alonso, left back.
A great player. Great servant to Chelsea. Runs down the wing for me. Phil Mangan says, love you guys. Thank you, Phil. He says, never play golf or never watch football again. Oh, ho, ho. Well, never play golf for me because I haven't played in about 2 months.
Never watch football. I can do without football.
I don't think you've ever watched football. Sorry. Had to be done. I can't really ask that question that Phil asks, but you can ask it. Just say a name.
Who's more gay?
I just said you can't say it.
Oh.
Send her in.
Oh. Because he's been pressing hard lately.
That's Ian.
Oh. Well, I'm not answering.
You can't answer.
Yeah.
This can't even... Yeah. Gary says, I just don't want to go on about Bruno. I think you're okay now, Gar. He says, away day in Brazil. Organized. Thoughts?
No comment.
Sao Paulo away.
No comment.
Why would he say that, girl?
No comment.
Okay. You're like a politician.
Yeah.
Last question from to get it out from the other night. It's from Connell. He says, how great is it that Drogs won't be playing in Europe? I don't know if you heard about this, but multi-club ownership has come back to bite Drogheda on the arse.
They can't play in Europe.
I think it's an ongoing thing at the minute for them to play in Europe, yeah, but it's looking unlikely.
Derry are going to get it.
Derry, it depends who's applied for UEFA licenses.
And that would make it a successful season for...
Oh, fuck,
the
right
one
off,
and only
man. Don't even start.
Rory.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
No. That's such a bad shout, man. Jer says, good to see he's finishing. Only way to hear my mate without some abuse being thrown my way. I'm surprised you can even hear it, Jer. Way! He's definitely one here, sorry. He'll like that one. If he can hear it. Ah! Sorry, I'm sorry.
Stop the bleeding, please.
So we did announce, I say this as if it's like a Fabrizio Romano thing, we did announce last night that this evening is our last record. And we are come to an end. So we did say to share your best memories if you have any. Yeah. So I'm gonna go through a few messages, Kieran, that we received. Starting off with Gary says, is Mudryk dead? I don't think so. Is he still drug banned?
I think he's waiting trial or something. I don't know what's going on with that, to be honest. You're asking
Fucking hell, what do you do?
He took an illegal substance, but he said he never did.
Gary says, surely a social gathering to say goodbye to the pod hosted in the Gravity Bar. That actually would have been quite nice. He says, I'm not sure Gallagher is a real person. Didn't even see him when I went to a sporting game.
That actually would be
Jesus,
nice.
Gary, fucking insightful stuff here. David Mullery, big fan of the show, says, anything Stephen Kenny related was always full of banter. Best of luck in the future. Cheers.
Oh my God.
Dave. You're going to get sad now. Gary says, Dave and Rory spin-off podcast series, ? No. He says, I hope my Get It Out fans won't miss me too much. Gary, this is not... Why is he self-serving himself here? He says, Mbeumo and Sancho swap deal. Actually, I'd imagine he could be in the deal, Sancho, to be fair. Going to Brentford.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think Thomas Frank would be stupid enough to bring him in.
He's stupid enough to let Mbeumo go.
300,000 a week.
Do you know? But he won't get that at Brentford. Adam Fight says, absolute legends, the both of yous, kiss. Everyone stream Indicate on Spotify. your narcissistic ways. Thank you for always supporting the podcast.
Cheers, Adam.
Gary,
See you soon.
Gary, and I'm only reading this now. He says, "Thought it was a bad dream. Fuming on the train here. That was this morning." Jer says, "Adzi's reaction to being offered cocaine was one of the funniest things I've heard on any podcast." That was in Lisbon, Kieran.
Yeah.
Do you remember coming back in Lisbon on the plane? We were sat beside a woman. And and I don't know what her name was. I think we had her on the podcast.
She had a very distinct name.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was something. But do you remember her saying to us? She was like, she was quite blunt. She was like, "I don't think the podcast will take off. You need to start going on Twitch."
Yeah.
And we never did, because Twitch is a whole other kettle of fish.
We never listened.
Here
we are.
Oh well, hopefully she's still listening. Phil Mangan says, "The world will have a little less United hate now." Very true. He says, "Big memory of mine is questions getting censored." Phil, you're on the other side of the fucking planet, man. You ask the questions after we've recorded, and your questions are usually fucking ridiculous. Like, you're asking about the size of our flutes and all. Like, they're usually stupid questions, man. You know the size of Kieran's flute, so you don't need to be told by him. He says, "Bake Off specials, the one to go, this one to go." Thank you, Phil. He says, "Genuinely a proper football podcast, will miss this." Thank you, Phil. Sham Galvin says, "Can you talk about Shell's downfall and how Duff is under pressure?" I wouldn't have said Duff is under pressure. I think it's a position almost like Jurgen Klopp for Liverpool for a long time. Is like, people would have been happy to get rid of the 11 players on the pitch before they got rid of Klopp. And I think it just hasn't. I think there's a real sense of a hangover at Shell's this season. And that's how I'd best describe it. I don't know if he's under any pressure though. He says, "Also, please mention your man's good-looking sister you mentioned a few times." Shout out to Ben Casey's sister. What's her name? Is it Emma? Is it
Laura?
Shout out to Laura Casey.
Adam,
we love you. We love you dearly. Ben's gonna love this. Thanks for being a part of our podcast without even knowing it. Shout out to Laura Casey for the last time on the Good Touch for a Big Man podcast. Fuck me, man. We actually have a good few things to still get through. Ian says, "Two legends, thank you for the laughs. Thanks for always supporting Ian. We do appreciate the love." James says, "Predictions in 5 years in life / football all, and come back to do a mini episode to answer." Fucking hell, man. I suppose 5 years time, what really think football will be at?
I think this tiki-taka, press the other opponent, break up the play in the middle of the pitch, remove the midfielders from football. I think that'll be gone in 5 years. I think we might have a more fast, attractive brand of football. In 5 years, I could see this Liverpool team going into decline with the likes of Van Dijk, Alisson. Well, they did win the league. Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah all leaving. I think that it would be a big part of
Must be another goal in the Spain game. They're winning 3-0. It was a penalty as well. You had time to wind that up. Sorry, go on, Kieran. That's Kieran's father, by the way, watching Spain and France. I don't know if you could hear that. He's let out two visceral groans as two of the goals went in, and as the third one going in, the other two aren't having the recording.
He must hate France. But but yeah, it's... I completely forgot what I was going to say there, but I think Liverpool going to decline. I could see Barca maybe return to glory. And this Real Madrid side could go downhill after Ancelotti's left. But that's neither here nor there.
In terms of life, Kieran, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is a bit of a heavy question.
Hopefully on an island somewhere far, far away from people. Not even have a phone. And just kind of meditating. And not getting involved in the rat race. Just let everyone else run around like headless chickens to get to work.
Hope I'm still around in 5 years' time. That's something to think about. Isn't it? Jesus. Football-wise, I think, unfortunately, I think we're going towards a very dark period in football.
Oh, here we go.
I do.
Okay.
I think money's taken over the game, and
well, that happened years ago.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna accelerate. I think the World Cup next year is going to be one to be enjoyed. Probably the best World Cup of all time, hopefully. After that, I really don't know. In terms of life, I don't know. I'm relatively, for what it's worth, like I think people think we fell out, and this is why this is ending. I think people think we're unhappy, etc. We're both very happy right now. I can't speak for you, but in terms of life in general, I'm very grateful for all the people I have in my life, and in 5 years' time, I'd hope to have the same people around me. Those who are really close, obviously they know who they are. Yeah, I'd like to still have those people in my life. Do you know?
That's nice.
I
didn't have a nice answer like that.
Jamie says, also, will Gary still be rattled by his fan tracks defeat in 5 years? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
You having nightmares with it?
Dan Lavin says, where are we? He says, Dan says a few things. He says, post-match points after Ireland lost to Greece. You will be missed. One of my favourite pictures of all time is the picture of the three of us arguing in the, where was it? The Palace Bar.
Yeah.
The Snug in the Palace Bar. And did we not get a few strangers on the podcast that night? They were on a date.
Yeah, and we had to cut the whole thing.
Fuck yeah. We don't have that anymore, do we?
No.
Oh my God.
I think it was in the best bits, one of the best bits.
I think it was in the best bits one, yeah. And it was so freaky.
Yeah.
I think I was dropping game on her, wasn't I?
Yeah. Go back to the best bits from 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
And there's a fella and a girl on a date in Palace, and we're there after Ireland lost to Greece, and he could just hear me chatting her up. It was so bad. We were gargled, naturally enough. Dan says, Cran hates football so much he ended his own football podcast. Oh, very true. He says,
it wasn't down to me, Dan. It wasn't down to me.
He says, it's a joint decision, Kieran. Don't make me out to be a bad person here. He says,
That's what I mean.
He said, you both taking empty bottles from the Tree Arena for your studio was a good laugh. Oh, fuck
Where
me,
are
man.
they? I think they're
Gone, I think, smashed. We used to have them there, didn't we?
Yeah.
And funny enough, it's funny about that. The idea we had was to
put lamps
in them. And we just never bothered. This fucking clock behind us there, that was the first thing we bought. This table and a fake plant. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. Gary once again goes, where do I go from here? None to smile about
Jesus
my life.
Christ. Gary.
He says, I've just noticed in your profile picture it says Adzi and Cran, but Cran is on the left. I actually hate this fella.
Fuck you, Gary. Fuck you.
He says, we may be losing the podcast, but away days must live on. And he's not the only one to say this. Dave says, footy vlogs the way forward. Away days will be getting booked. When we say we're finished, right, this is the last time we think we will be sat here week to week just with how our lives are. That's just how it is. We will still create football content. That is the plan, isn't it?
It is the plan. And I think we'll have a lot of exciting ideas and a lot of energy to focus on these trips. And I think making interesting titles, not to say it's clickbait, but interesting titles, people want to watch the stuff because it's interesting.
Gary gets mauled by a shark.
Yeah. Gary mauled by a shark in Kazakhstan after watching a football match.
Fair,
You know, shit like that. Just interesting. And I think, listen, we could aim for 3 or 4 next season and ramp it up from there, or we could aim for 5 or 6 or whatever. But I think definitely the cheapest football holiday or something would be excellent.
Within reason, man. I'm not going to Armenia.
Listen, if we have to go to Armenia, we'll go to Armenia.
Fuck's sake, don't say that.
It's all for the love of the game.
We're going to end with good friend of the podcast, Alton. He has a few questions. He says, oh, fucking hell, another debate. For one last time, Reece James or Trent Alexander-Arnold? Oh, do you know what? I'll probably say Reece James now at this point. He says, are we sure this isn't another rebrand? This is it, man.
This is it.
Unfortunately.
The last dance.
He says, do you have any hidden talents? I'm going to have to think about this. But one thing I like doing when I've had a few drinks on me from talking about football is I can name the 1 to 11 of Inter Milan's team against Bayern Munich in 2010.
Stankovic.
Yeah, I love saying I've done this with you before in podcasts.
Yeah.
That'd be my hidden talent. I don't know if that's a talent or I don't know, like an autistic thing or something. I think we all have a bit of autism in us.
It's your photographic memory.
Do you know what? It's funny. I think part of me wanting Inter to win the weekend was there's kind of a romantic part of me that loves Inter. Don't say in what way.
I had the same thing.
I really wanted them to win, and I think when I look back at 2010, that was the first ever Champions League final on a Saturday. That's something that sticks out to me. And it was a moment of time. It was in the Bernabeu, a stadium like the Allianz. Football is very romantic, man. You know, we wouldn't be here without football.
Yeah. I mean, look at us breaking up on the basis of football. It is romantic.
Alton says, do you have any hidden talents?
I can bend my toes both ways. I'm double jointed.
Ambidextrous, I think, isn't that the word?
Double jointed. So if you want to see that, join me in the shower at past 9 o'clock, and I'll show you.
Oh, what the fuck, man? Alton says, what was the best thing about childhood? Fuck me, man. I think the innocence of being a child is amazing. I'm being serious.
Sorry, this is such a depressing question.
No, I think it is. I think you spend your whole childhood, wanting to be an adult, and then you get to this stage and you're like, fucking hell, it's tough, isn't it? Like, and even with this, for example,
I think life gets better though in general.
Oh, it does. Like, I think as a child you're a bit stupid. Do you know what I mean? You don't know how the world works, so everything always looks better than what it is. But I think being innocent, the innocence of it all is great. I think we know far too much now as adults, and we know far too much as people in general. But yeah, being young, it's amazing to be young.
Do you know what? The best thing about childhood was going down the shop with 20 cents and buying a Freddo bar.
Oh, fucking hell, man. Stop bringing up inflation.
And now you have to fucking buy one for €2. That's crazy.
Oh, fucking hell, man. Last question, and it's a nice way to end it. What are your personal favourite moments of the podcast? So when you look back on it all, Kieran, all 144 episodes, 145 including this one.
Yeah.
What are your personal highlights of your time doing the podcast?
I mean, I've loved every bit of it, really. It has me a bit shook here because this is the last question. And we truly are at the end now, Adam. But I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah.
The laughs, the arguments, the fights about irrelevant players, the World Cup, doing everything with the World Cup in Qatar, all the episodes we did. We record 30 minutes every day, I think, or most days, talking about the World Cup. Just living through that. From start to finish, I've enjoyed every bit. The trip to, all the trips really, were excellent. Milan, dying with the pollen. Amsterdam.
Not even pollen. It wasn't even pollen.
Amsterdam, Adzi getting finessed by drug dealers in Amsterdam.
Lisbon.
Lisbon as well, yeah. Yeah, that was Lisbon, wasn't it? Amsterdam was more low-key. But,
wow.
No, it wasn't. But then we had Eindhoven,
Rotterdam. Lois and Eindhoven. Shout out to Gary. Lois. Remember Lois? Lois.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Say no more.
The Bake Off special, all the special episodes we did, all the guests we had on, Aaron, Warren,
Aaron and
Warren,
Dan, Dave.
Yeah.
Anyone who's contributed at any point. There's a lot of people. There's
all the people that called in that time we
I
did
was
the
about
transfers.
to say, I was about to say, Dara Revel, Ian, Gary Vav, I think.
Daniel.
Gary's been on it a few times, I think, to be fair.
The logo creators.
Cam, yeah.
The intro, Stephen Codd.
Shout out to COD, yeah.
And then what else do we have? There's definitely people we're forgetting. Burn Sports for the jumpers.
For the jumpers, yeah. Jesus. The OnlyFans days, yeah.
Every bit of it I've enjoyed. Yeah. There's another goal for
Spain.
Spain.
Fourth goal.
It is a moment in time, and the Euros as well. We forgot about Spain, the Euros.
Yeah, fucking. Yeah, just gone. Jesus. Yeah. Who else, man?
Unbelievable experience.
Bacon Brew, I think they've been there for us from day one.
Yeah.
To be fair.
They have. Ivan Toney.
Well, funny enough, this was close to being called Tony fans, wasn't it? Which, it's a good thing it wasn't, but in hindsight, it's great. I suppose I want to thank, obviously you. Thanks for putting up with me all these years. Personally speaking, I wouldn't be the man I am today without this. You know, that this was this came at a right time for me. Personally, you know, just a lot of different reasons why, and the release to be able to speak about football with one of my best friends every week and not give a fuck is always great. You look at the pictures we have. There's a picture of you and Dave, us in, I think it's the back page, isn't it? Like there's so much of this room that
us in Feyenoord Stadium.
There's so much in this room that we've shared, and not just in front of the camera with the microphones on. Like we've done podcasts before where we've had bad days, really bad days, and we've come in and gone, I don't want to fucking do this, and we've done it. And as kind of a coping mechanism, that's what helped us got through those bad days.
Yeah.
Do you know, there was a lot of winters we were here. I'd be coming here after work, you'd be finishing your job. And it wasn't pleasant. Like, we wouldn't want to come here. There was times when Chelsea were shit. There was times when Liverpool were shit. The love for football is still there. The love for Kieran. Kieran's one of my best friends. Like, that's never going to end. This has been nothing but a pleasure. Excuse me. And it's made me the person I am today. I don't like even the stuff with shells. Does that come around if I don't do this? Probably not. Do you know, like this preceded everything.
Yeah.
The work I do
the
with
stuff
Guinness
I'm doing
now,
with the videography. Even.
Like you know what I mean? It all kind of. We needed this as I suppose an escalator to what we're doing now and what we're doing in the future, and you said you enjoyed every moment of it. I couldn't disagree more. No, I couldn't agree more. It's been nothing but a pleasure. Gary, Dave, Ian, Rory, Senan, anyone who's ever contributed.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah, shout to the everyone who's contributed, the interviews, yeah, thanks for it all. And to those of you at home, if you're watching on YouTube, we're trying not to get emotional here. Thanks for listening to us. For anyone who's ever liked the podcast, shared it from our OnlyFans days to the big Good Touch for a Big Man days. This has been nothing but a pleasure, and yeah, we love you all. Kieran, anything left out?
No, I just can't believe we're here at the end. It's the end.
Do you know what, man? It kind of feels surreal. And I'm glad we talked about actual football before we came back to this, because if we had kept going on at the pace where it started, I'd have been crying. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. And we will be back in a certain way. And look, the podcast is always going to be there. If you ever feel... When we started this, we wanted this to be a place for people to feel safe, for people to, if they have issues or whatever, to listen to it and get away from that headspace.
Yeah.
The podcasts aren't going to go. We're going to be on YouTube probably forever, unfortunately, the way the internet works now. If you ever want to go back in a podcast, if you ever want to reach out to us, you know what I mean, do that as well. Most people who follow us have our personal details as well. But I suppose, Kieran, for the final time, we leave it there. So
we leave it there. So
we did it, baby. We did it, baby.